Hey guys, it's Streed, and today I'm going to be reviewing the late 70s environmental horror flick, Prophecy.
Prophecy was directed by John Frankenheimer. It starred Robert Foxworth, Talia Shire, and Richard Dysart. It was an obscure but extremely well-made and well-crafted late 70s environmental horror flick, showcasing how greed and laziness can affect and corrupt nature. The film is about a man named Rob Verne who feels he isn't making a difference in his life or his career, but he's offered a job to mediate a dispute in Maine between a tribe of Native Americans blocking out lumberjacks and lodgers from intruding on their land. Rob's wife Maggie comes along with him, but she's withholding her pregnancy from Rob since he has no interest in having kids. As the days go by, Rob begins noticing irregularities and mutations occurring in the forest, and becomes suspicious of the logging company and is determined to find out what shady business dealings is going on, while a mysterious mutant bear wreaks havoc and savagely murders everyone in its path. The beast is rumored to be the supernatural guardian of the forest dubbed Katahdin, referencing the highest mountain peak in Maine, probably correlating with the creature's menacing stature. Apparently the film was based on true events. In 1958, mercury was dumped into the rivers of Minamata, Japan, causing mutation, mental degeneration, and deformation.
Wow. Going into this movie, I had low expectations. I've heard whispers here and there that it was a horribly unwatchable film, and it was just a very dull, mediocre, boring kind of film with terrible characters and a terrible monster. And this is one of those rare times where everyone was completely wrong. I fucking loved this movie. I really don't get the criticisms. It makes absolutely no sense, and I'll explain that later. But before we get into the review, I'd like to give a shout out to an up and coming YouTube. Well, he's not up and coming. He's been making videos for a few years now, and he's very underrated. His name is Scarlet Spartan. His content specializes in sort of monster flicks, kaiju flicks. He's also doing a newly started series where he looks at creepy videos from his childhood. So I definitely recommend you give him a sub. He just hit 300, and I love this movie so much. I had to comment about it and tell him, like, suggest that he review this. And so I left a comment on his channel, and he ended up pinning it. So take that as you will. So, now for the strengths. The woodland scenery is absolutely beautiful because, like I said, when I went to this film, I thought it was just going to be, at worst, a really boring film. At best, a really cheesy, monster film. And it has some cheesiness in there, but mostly this movie is very profound and thought-provoking. And yeah, the scenery is really beautiful, and these shots are gorgeous looking. Like I don't know how people hate on this film so badly. All these shots are absolutely gorgeous. And the characters are very likable, and they got a lot of depth. You see, our main character, Rob Verne, he's a very kind of depressed guy because he's like a doctor, but he doesn't feel like he's helping anyone, so he feels really depressed, and he feels like the world is just a really awful place, which is why he doesn't want to have kids. He's not being it to be a dick. He's just thinking, you know what, I don't want to bring a kid up in such a horrible, terrible world. And his wife, Maggie, yeah, his wife Maggie Verne, she's pregnant actually, and she's very afraid to tell him because she doesn't want to upset him. He's not abusive or anything. It's just she doesn't want to tell him. She knows he's already a little unhappy. So and Armand Asante, he looks like a combination of Al Pacino and Ricardo Montalban with a little hint of Joe Pilato. And he does a very good job in this movie too. He talks about how the lodgers and I think the paper mill, yeah, the paper mill company, that they're poisoning the waters, and it's making children born dead or born deformed, and it's hurting people and it's killing people. And that speech that he does, it's beautiful. It's honestly really beautiful. And the message is very meaningful, honestly. The whole message with respecting the environment and pollution, and a lot of movies handle that subject very poorly. Like Fern Gully, they sort of running into the ground. Oh, mankind bad. Mankind bad, bad, bad. But this actually does a really good job at showing you the effects of greed and laziness, because this whole shit started because it was cheaper to put mercury in the water to soften up the trees that they're cutting down to make into paper, which is that's laziness right there. That's bullshit. And with the greed, because they said it was cheaper, that's also with the greed because they want to make more money for cheaper. And the effect, the suspense. I gotta get this. The suspense is so chilling. The suspense in a lot of scenes are great. And even though you don't see the monster till about 56 minutes in, there's a lot of really engaging suspense in here that I absolutely love. Like, one of my favorite scenes in this movie is this family of hikers. They go into the woods, and the dad thinks he hears something, so he just looks for a minute. And he looks at the woods, and it does this really cool panning shot, and he's like, oh well, he walks away. But then it zooms in to the woods, like straight above, and nothing's there. No face pops out or anything. It's just, it gives off that foreboding feeling that something was watching them, and that shit was, I loved it. I that shit was so well done, and it's genuine. The effects are good. Oh wait, I gotta get to the effects. The effects are very well done. Katahdin, the mutant bear, looks absolutely terrifying. Even the fucking roar. Every time this thing fucking appears, it scares the shit out of me. And the baby is really awfully disturbing looking, and it's just the effects on the baby is really well done. Like both of them, they look very real. Granted, in a few shots they don't look as real, but in the close-ups of the creature of Katahdin, it looks very much real. And it's genuinely scary at times. Usually when the fucking monster appears, and the way it moves, oh god, how fast it moves, that fucking got me. Because imagine a giant fucking lumbering beast, like 20 fucking feet long, fucking runs after you like this, runs, and the way it fucking runs and moves, it's horrifying. And there's an excellent jump scare. This is one of the greatest jump scares ever done. It's quite possibly along the lines of something like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You see, there's a scene where this lady Ramona, which I've seen her in Ernest Goes to Camp. She plays a Native American lady in that. I can't remember her name, but she sees her father walking through the forest. But before they know it's her father, he's like wearing this big like brown coat, and then when he reveals his face, he's like, "Oh hey guys, hey what up?" But then it's right after that the beast, the Katahdin, he appears out of nowhere, knocks down a tree, and he starts flipping shit, and he's like killing people, and I never saw it coming, honestly, because usually after a fake out scare, it's just like, oh, everything goes back to normal. But a scare right after the fake out, fucking genius. I loved it. And there's a lot of delightfully cheesy scenes, especially, oh my god, the greatest, the greatest kill I've ever seen in any movie. This movie likes to take itself very seriously, which it does very well, but this scene made me laugh out loud. Me and Jordan both watched it. We died laughing. Ramona's dad's death is pretty funny too, because you can obviously tell it's a dummy that the creature is killing. That's hilarious too. And the chainsaw fight, I immediately I feel like that's what inspired the fight in Ogroff, because there's a guy with an axe and he's fighting the I think his name is John Hawks. And they're both fighting. One is a chainsaw, one is an axe, and I immediately thought, "Oh my god, fucking Ogroff ripped this off," because this came out in '79, that came out in '83, and Katahdin's death is real badass. At first, I thought they were gonna like, cause they were swimming across the river, and they thought that the creature couldn't swim. So Katahdin, he goes into the water, he sinks there for a bit, and I got real disappointed at that point. I was thinking, oh no, that can't be the death. Please no, don't let that be the death. That is so fucking lame. And then the motherfucker pops out of the fucking water, and I kept saying the whole time, because I saw the bubbles, and I was like, wait a minute, that thing's not dead. That fucking thing's not dead. And I was thinking, hey, you motherfuckers should fucking run. They're just sitting there watching it. If I was them, just to make sure, I would have fucking ran, got out of there. You know, you wasted a lot of valuable minutes right there. It pops out of the water and it fucking chases them. It knocks down the house. Fucking epic. Now for the weaknesses. Some of the effects aren't that great. Most of the far away ones, but there's very few shots of the shitty effects. Most of the effects are stellar. And the side plot doesn't add much because we find out that since she's pregnant and she's been eating one of the fish that can deform people or like one of the polluted fish, her baby is most likely going to turn out either deformed or dead, and she's really, really upset about that. But she never ends up having the baby in the movie, so that side plot is a little useless. And Mr. Isley's death, played by what's his name? I forgot it. I said it earlier. Richard Dysart, sorry, who played Copper in fucking The Thing. His death is pretty weak. He tries to climb the well. At first, he tries to open the fence. He should have climbed it way faster. Then he would have got away. And then he tries to climb under it, and Katahdin grabs him and he eats him. But you don't see it. You just see him scream. He's like ah, and that's probably the worst death in the whole film. And the final scene is a little unnecessary and a little cheesy, with them getting with Rob and Maggie. They're getting picked away. They're in like a plane, you know, so they're getting away. And then all of a sudden, the final jump scare, a daddy Katahdin pops up and he's like, rah, you know. So I thought that was a little cheesy. Overall, this movie is it's like a mix of two things that I really like. It's meaningful, it's engaging, it's interesting, it's thought-provoking, but it's also cheesy, silly, and it's got lots of glorious carnage. And Kevin Peter Hall plays Katahdin, and this was his debut film. He would later go on to play the Predator, Harry from Harry and the Hendersons, and the Monster in Monster of the Closet, which I've got to review that film. And there's actually somewhat of a sad story behind this film. Right after the director, John Frankenheimer, right after he directed French Connection 2, which I haven't seen 1 or 2 yet, so I don't know. Apparently it failed at the box office, which made him really depressed, and he started on like a drinking problem. And then he made another film after that. I don't know what it's called. But then after that, he made this, and this one was a flop as well. And a bunch of people started unnecessarily hating on it, calling it garbage, calling it trash. And he took that very, very personally, and he said the film wasn't really done up to his standards. But I'm going to have to disagree because this film is very serviceable, and I would definitely watch it again. It's on the same level of entertainment and charm as Silver Bullet. And if you haven't seen Silver Bullet, that is one of the best movies of the 80s. It may not be perfect, but I love it. And anyways, the director, he felt very sad that people didn't like it and the film wasn't as great, you know, because he felt that this film like wasn't one of his best, which I'm not sure because I haven't seen many John Frankenheimer films. So all in all, overall, I would have to give it an 8 out of 10. If you're looking for lots of monster carnage, you get that towards the end. But throughout most of the movie, it's got a very interesting environmental message. There's some drama between Rob and Maggie. And some people consider that boring, or some people consider it stupid, because some people think that the effects are terrible, and some of them are. Some very few. Most of the effects are actually well done, so like I said, I don't understand the criticisms. I would definitely recommend this film. It's a very fun, thought-provoking, yet cheesy film. Well, guys, that was my review of Prophecy, and I will see you all next time.